No matter what stage you're at in your career, performing football-specific testing will help you understand yourself, your strengths, and your weaknesses a lot better, which will help you take better decisions in your career to make even faster progress towards your goals. In today's video, I'll walk you through all the football-specific physical testing that I've performed at the start of Project Reborn 2. The reason for performing these tests is so that we can establish a baseline that we can then base our future training program on. Also, to help you out, I've created 2 different PDFs that you can download for free within a link in the description. One PDF is a template that you can download and use to fill in your own test scores, and the other are my personal test scores that you can look through if you want to as well. First, we'll go through the pitch-based testing, which includes sprints, turns, jumps, and other types of explosive tests. Then we'll head to the gym to perform some mobility testing, some max strength testing, and a grueling cardio test towards the end. But now, without further ado, let's dive into the video. So, starting off with the pitch test. So we'll start off with a few set of jumps. This is the squat jump, and if you look up to your left, you can see a formula for how you can measure your jump height. The squat jump, you will start in a squatting position and then jump up. And then we have the counter movement jump, where you start standing up, then you squat down quickly and go back up. The squat jump is more targeting your strength-based power, while the counter movement jump is more your explosive speed-based power. Then we head into the unilateral deceleration, and this is simply a test to assess if there's any instabilities in our knees or any part of our body when we're trying to break off of one leg, which is an important skill to master in football, being able to change direction efficiently and safely to avoid any injuries. Then we have the bilateral deceleration, and this is the same basically as the unilateral, but breaking off of 2 legs. And then we come to the standing long jump, and this is a measurement of your ability to create power from a standstill. So you will start, as you can see, I started behind the line, then I jump as far as I can, and then I measure that distance by following the instructions that I put there in the little text box. And then we come into the 3 leap, which is basically 3 standing long jumps consecutively in a row, where you measure the total distance that you jump for those 3 jumps. And with all of these tests, I'm going for 2 to 3 attempts. More than that and I would get fatigued, but 2 or 3 also guarantees that I can put my best scores in there. Then we have another essentials, which is checking our landing mechanics, once again to check if there's any instability in our knees and our body when we're trying to land off of one leg. This can be after you perform the header and you land on one leg and you want that to be as stable as possible. Then we come to the straight line sprint, and this is basically just to check our technique in a 20-meter straight line sprint. No timing here or anything of that nature. You can also see this as a warm-up for the sprinting tests that will come in just a second. And here we have another essentials. We check our turning mechanics. So how efficiently can we turn 90 degrees to the side and sprint away? And is there anything we can improve in that regard? Then we come into the 40-meter sprint. And here I have put out gates for 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters, and 40 meters. And then I'm able to time myself over the course of these 3 attempts and then take my best score for the 10 meter, 20 meter, 30 meter, and 40 meter time. Then we get into a few more essentials, and this is the 180-degree turn. So I put out a 20-meter straight line sprint, and then I sprint up towards that cone, and then I make a 180-degree turn back to where I came from and check how efficiently I can do that and how quickly I can do that. Then I perform the very same thing, but now I go 90 degrees to the left, followed by 90 degrees to the right. And then we finish that off with a 45-degree turn, first to the left and then to the right, and see how efficiently we can perform that turn. Because these are all turns that you will perform on the field, and you want to be as efficient as possible when performing them. In the 40-meter sprint, we measured our speed in a straight line, but here in the 𝗕𝗏𝗀𝗃 test, which is arguably even more important, you measure your speed in a change of direction course. And the first distance you go up 5 meters straight up, and then 45 degrees to your right, 45 degrees to your left, 45 degrees to your right, and then a 10-meter sprint out. And then for the last pitch-based test, I will perform the velocity VO2 max, where I can see for how long I can sustain max effort. So I'm trying to reach my max speed and then count for how many seconds can I perform and keep that level of effort up. Okay, so we will start off with the functional motion screening, and we have 7 different exercises to go through. The first one is the deep squat. So we grab one of these sticks, put it over our head, and just go down into a deep squat. As far as we can, and then back up. Then we go for what is called the inline lunge. So we're gonna take the stick, we're gonna put it behind our backs, and we're gonna go into a lunge position. And we want to remain as straight as possible, have a good posture, or as good as we can have, and go for a few reps and just check the form. Okay, the next exercise we have is for our shoulder mobility. Please light me up. What we want to do here is we want to just take one arm down, one arm up, and then try to reach your hands together behind your back. As you can see, this side is pretty good for me. I can reach them pretty comfortably. But if we head to the other side, you can see that my right shoulder mobility is struggling to reach the hand. I can touch the fingertips kind of, but it's pretty hard. Then if we head back onto the mat, we have something called the active straight leg raise. So we just get down on our backs, have our feet right in front of us, put our back to the ground, head to the ground, and then just lift our leg up as high as we can before we can't go any further. And it's about there for me. On the right one, left one, about the same. About 75, 80 degrees perhaps, hard to tell from here, but this tests our hamstring flexibility, lower back mobility, among other things. Then we have the trunk stability push-ups. So we get into a push-up position, but we put our hands right beside our head, and then our goal is to just lift ourselves up as stable as we can to engage our core and all those muscles. Okay, so for the final 2 exercises, it's 2 variations of the same exercise. It's rotary stability 1 and rotary stability 2. So what we want to do is we want to grab the stick again. We want to place it in a straight line like this. So we have a guideline. Then we go straight above it, put our hands up, down, and stand in this position. Then we'll lift our right hand up and our left leg up at the same time for the first exercise, and remain as stable as possible. And then the other hand up and the other leg. You see, this isn't really an issue for me. I can remain pretty stable. But then we have rotary stability 2, and here we lift the left hand up together with the left leg. And this one is way harder. You see, I can do it if I tilt my balance over to the left side. I can go up on my right side, but ideally we want to remain as, straight as possible and not lean over to counteract the balance issues. Yeah, that's the hardest one for me. Okay, that's it for the FMS, the functional motion screening. Now we'll head to the max strength tests, but since my body isn't feeling the best, I won't go for a 1 rep maximum, which is usually what you do. You take your weight and you try to go the maximum amount of weight you can go for 1 repetition. But since my body isn't feeling ready, I will go for 4 reps. So my 4 rep maximum, and we'll see what that is. And so I start off with the barbell bench press, and here for just 10 reps or whatever, I'm just performing a warm-up with the barbell to just warm up ahead of the working sets. Then I put on some more weight. I go for 40 kilos, still a warm-up set, but these weights, I'll just have to say that they will be different for everyone performing these. Maybe if you're new to the gym, you will have lower weights, or if you're more experienced than I am, maybe you will have heavier weights than I do. Then for the first attempt, I go for a 4 rep max at 60 kilos. So I'm trying to get 4 reps at 60 kilos, and this was fairly easy. I achieved that pretty quickly. So I raised the weight up to 70 kilos, and this proved to be way too heavy. I barely got the bar up, which you can see here, but in the end I got it up, but not a 4 rep max. So I dropped it down to 65 kilos and went for my third attempt, and which you can see here, towards the end I really struggle. There's the third rep, and then trying to get that last fourth one, and I really struggled to get up the bar, but eventually I did it, and that was my 4 rep max. Okay, so now it's time for the trap bar deadlift. Brutal one. And then the same thing here really. I just start off with the bar to just perform a few warm-up reps. So go for, I don't know, 6 to 10 reps, just warm up those muscles that we will use when performing the 4 rep max. Now, I haven't performed the trap bar deadlift in a while, so I wasn't sure of where to start, but I put it at 65 kilos, so I put 2 20-kilo plates on each side and performed the 4 rep max, and that was fairly easy. So I bumped it up very quickly to 105, and that was way too heavy and I couldn't lift it at all. And then I bumped that down again, so 85 kilos, 4 rep max, that was the third attempt, and that was a success as well. Then I eventually raised it once again to 95 kilos for my fourth attempt, and this was my absolute max, because see, before I couldn't lift it at all at 105, and then at 95 I could perform 4 reps, so it's around 95 to 100 kilos should be my 1 rep max as well. So for this last test we have jumped on the bike, and we will go through a test called the FTP, or the Functional Threshold Power Test, and this is a test of our cardiovascular ability, where we will go for our max effort for 30 minutes. So I will set the bike to level 7 in resistance, and what I will do is I will keep a check on my average RPM, so how many rounds per minute I can keep up for these 30 minutes, and that RPM value is what will be my score. But it's really tough. It's going to be 30 minutes, so I will not leave this camera on because they will be super boring, but I will get a few shots from the phone, and yeah, I'm not quite ready for this, but let's go. Okay. And that was it really. I just went for 20 minutes because I was absolutely dead, but 20 minutes of max effort and a RPM score, average RPM score of 95, as you can see at the top there. But that was all for the testing. I hope you can perform them as well, and let me know your scores. Excited to hear.